Meredith, because this could go off the rails.
Okay, we're up. We're live. Hello, everyone.
Oh, great. Hello, everybody. Listen, I am so excited today. Usually we do other comedians, but I have a friend who is also funny, but actually has accomplished something in life. This is just, she has out this hot new book. It's a bestseller already on Amazon. We are so psyched to have her with us today because God knows we need to know what she knows. Here it is, Brag Better. My friend Meredith Fineman. You got to get it on Amazon. If you look on my Facebook page, I've got the link. If you look on Meredith Fineman's, Fineman's page, or probably Kat Rose's Wiser page, we're going to just plaster it all over. So anyway, first though, Meredith, while we were in the green room, you already know Catherine Rose, and you got to know Kathy Ferris, who has a wonderful Ferris and Friends show. We're all kind of Boston area. I'm down in New York now. But I want to start out by bragging about Christine, who just slid into home plate. So I get a chance to introduce you, which is sort of the way she travels. Anyway, Christine, just to give you oh my God, well, she was just on America's Got Talent. But I think my favorite credit of Christine's, and as you said in your book, Meredith, it's easier to brag about your friends. Christine has performed in Dennis Leary's Comics Come Home, and 17,000 people at TD Garden in Boston gave her a standing ovation. So that's who the lady in the hat is, okay? Which is, she can't play softball for shit, but other than that, she's very impressive. And she has 5 kids, and we went to the same high school. But I should be talking about Meredith.
Is that in every episode? Is that going to be in every episode that you guys went to the same high school?
Yes, it's going to be in every episode.
Is it product placement or something?
Were you friends in high school?
Oh, I'm so much older, Meredith. You're so kind.
Meredith, they only went to the same school. They didn't even go at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It was well, we did a fundraiser there together, and
we did. And I said a bad word, and we haven't been asked back.
Well, that's true. I remember you waving to Dr. Peebles at the end saying, hi, and they're like, no. But I also remember at the beginning saying, Christine is what you would call a strong comic, which means she really makes you laugh, like body laugh. Okay. But anyway, I will get to you, Meredith. I'm sorry, the ADD, the COVID's kicking in here. I did say to people out front, I said, look, if you can't take if you have, if you wanted a super clean show, I just want you to know my friend Christine Hurley's coming up, and well, may I just walk you out to your car right now, because you really have to fasten your fucking seatbelt. I didn't say fucking because it was my old Catholic high school. But anyway,
Boston.
I know. Yeah, 20 miles south of Boston. I come from a very blue collar town. Anyway, but I'm not going to hurt you. Okay, old joke. What I want to know, Meredith, is why is it so damn hard to brag about ourselves? Why?
Yeah, so I will say this is a really fun group. Usually I am the one who like desperately wants attention, but clearly that is evenly distributed.
Oh no, we're really desperate
among here. So I'm not used to that. But so yes, I wrote a book called Brag Better. I'm not a comedian, though. I wish I were.
Though. You're funny.
I will take it. So it's hard to brag about yourself because you don't have the words. You don't have the role models. We have a really intense inverse relationship between volume and merit. We reward loud. And that is so much more difficult for women. I mean, we don't have to go into a serious conversation about women in comedy, except that I will say that we all know which comics get rewarded, and they're not often women. So I will say that. And so I'm a writer, I'm an entrepreneur, I have podcasts.
Oh, she's been in Harvard Business Review, Forbes, help me out. What are the other ones? Fast Company. Oh yeah. So
any place they'll put me, I will be. Yes. So I have written for everyone under the sun, particularly in the business realm, entrepreneurship, women's issues, sometimes how they intersect. I used to write funnier things in my 20s when I wrote about dating. Jane, I didn't know you during this time.
No, I didn't know. Actually, we go way, way back to the New Year's Eve thing. I probably knew you when you were 8.
Well, I'm sorry.
You've done a good job since then, Meredith. I must say, you've really come along. I love that graphic. The lady behind you. That's one of my favorite posters.
Yeah, Amplifier Foundation, who did stuff with the Women's March.
Oh, that's where I saw it.
It's the same artist who did the Obama Hope.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, wow.
Harvard Ferry.
That's why it looks so familiar.
Nice.
It is really nice. It's so much better than mine. I have a photograph of a mushroom.
Tell her why. Tell her, or are you going to tell that story again? Okay.
No, I'm not going to tell the story again.
No, tell her the
Oh,
story.
tell it again. Tell it again.
It's really not even a story. It's just the story of my life. My daughter, this is her boyfriend's art.
Oh. That reminds me of, it's reminding me of the young woman who does the voice enactments of Cuomo. And he's always talking about the boyfriend. He's like, the boyfriend, I like the boyfriend. You can't say you don't like the boyfriend because then, she won't, she'll never talk to you again. So how do we feel about the boyfriend?
Oh, I like the boyfriend.
Okay.
I like him very much. I mean,
Tell
not
her
like,
tell
not
her
like
who the other pictures are. Who are the other pictures?
Not inappropriately, but I like them.
Who are the other pictures of? Her family gave her the other pictures. There's only one other person on her in her background.
Yeah, I don't know if the viewers could see this. If you zoom in, those pictures up there, they're Rob Lowe.
It's
I'm
all
not a
Rob
fan.
Lowe. It's just all Rob Lowe. Okay.
You don't like Rob Lowe?
No, I like Chad Lowe, his brother, and my kids decided to do this about 7 years ago, and I decided to punish them by never taking them out. So I have school photos around here. Look at Chad Lowe.
So Meredith, talk to us about the qualified quiet. What a great concept.
So none of this group is quiet, but you might still identify as the qualified quiet. So I care, and my work is getting people to brag and self-promote as a means to advance career. So that could be for an internship, or that could be for a corporate board seat. Really runs the gamut, not only for women, though obviously a lot of my work is around women and bragging and visibility, but I'll take men's money too. So definitely also for dudes. But qualified quiet is people that have done the work, but don't know how to talk about it, which to some degree is all of us. I talk about how that's a position of power and strength because it is much harder. What I'm teaching is not rocket science. It is principled strategic communications, and writing and packaging and pitching about yourself to then be able to share with others so you can get the recognition that you want. And that's a learned skill set. And that's one that I've taught for the past decade with my clients or in speeches or trainings or what have you. So that's what I call my audience is the qualified.
I know you teach people so much. It's really hard to reduce this book to one show, but like, what are some words or phrases that we shouldn't be using about us?
Well, it's really interesting because also particularly in the comedy context, I mean, this is not only the audience watching this is not only other comedians, but
We have some straight people. Yeah, we have some civilians.
so so much of comedy is navigating and just shitting on your own experience to get laughs and what have you. But I talk about the line that you walk between verbal undercutting and self-deprecation. The former is basically insulting yourself before someone else can and stopping your work and your accomplishments dead in their tracks. And then the latter is being able to engage people and feel closer to them through humor. Though I will say, so we are obviously in a highly unusual time for so many different reasons. I wrote an extra free chapter on how to brag better from home and online
Great.
that you can get on the Brag Better website at brag-better.com. And I say that right now is not very much a time for humor in certain workplace contexts. Like we all want to consume things that make us like feel less sad right now. But I would say that, something like self-deprecation, it's very hard to communicate that over the screen, subtleties, nobody can infer anything right now.
Right.
So I would cut that out. Then I would also cut out things like, I hate to brag, but, or self-promotion alert, or shameless plug. And I'll tell you why. Jane, if you did a show and when you posted the video from the show, you said, shameless plug, I did this show at X and Y and Z. So I'm your friend, but I'm also looking at that, knowing that you're uncomfortable and what you're doing is it's a vulnerable act to, particularly as a woman, stand positively, for the work you've done. And, there's a lot that can come at you because of that. And I obviously argue it's a net positive, but I'm looking at that and I'm saying, well, I know that Jane's uncomfortable. So now I'm uncomfortable. That's transferring to me. So I don't know if I want to share that video. I'm going to shut down and that's going to stop dead in its tracks. So much of Brag Better is also stemming from my work as a publicist, which I still do. I sort of toe the line, publicist, media relations, writing, executive coaching, and all that stuff. But it's about controlling that conversation, and also PR and visibility is about a snowball effect. You want to keep rolling the snowball down the hill, and that stops and melts the snowball. Whereas if you said I had so much fun doing this, show in X and Y and Z, would love for you to take a look. Then I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll click on that. I'm not feeling any of that anxiety. And actually, now that I think about it, I have a friend who needs a comedian for something. I should actually give Jane's, I should introduce them, and then you do that show and someone's sitting in the audience, and so on and so forth. So, that's something.
So don't undercut ourselves. And I've often seen too, don't say, I try to do something. It's I do or something. What did Yoda say?
There is only try, only do. I don't know. I don't watch Star Wars, so
okay. No, but you got it. You got it.
One of the things that I was interested in when I was reading your book, what came to my mind, especially as comedians, one of the things that you have in your thing, you have to champion you, and we have to ask for stuff. We have to ask for shows. We have to get out there and promote ourselves. And what I have learned, I think you guys may have as well, that men ask for things differently. For instance, when I would ask a promoter, I'd say, I'd like to be considered, and here's my link, and let me know. Where men would typically say, here are my avails, dates available, let me know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, there's so much competing messaging coming at women that things we have to think about and ways we have to soften ourselves, particularly around voice. And in this case, that's what comedy is your distinct voice. And I talk a lot about how and why bragging is so hard for women, but in addition to positive attributes being associated with passive behaviors, particularly around silence. So she was coy, demure, shy. So much of obviously, patriarchy is to look pretty and be quiet. And so all of that is so prevalent in all the things that we're talking about. And I've gotten every sort of negative thing thrown back at me, but I've written for, all the things I've gotten have just been because of relentless pitching. Certainly, Jane knows that I've been pitching Brag Better since 2014 when I first came up with the idea in 2013.
You have really been working at this. What I love too about your book is every iteration, every speech you get, you learn, and you just get better. Do you know what I mean? I watched your journey to get to this. And now, the cover is great. The concept, if you had called it it's called Brag Better, Mastering the Art of Self-Promotion. But if you'd called it Mastering the Art of Self-Promotion, I don't think it would have caught as much.
Right.
Brag Better, and that took many, many, many outings to get. Can you tell them a bit about your journey, how you what I was listening to yesterday, how you went from calling yourself a digital strategist to a digital publicist, but just if we hear the specifics of your journey, then maybe we can learn something.
Yeah. So I recorded the whole audiobook in a closet during quarantine.
Oh, I love I'm so glad it was you. You did a great job.
Thank you. It was horrific. It is so terrible. I love this under my own voice and my face, and obviously, but it's 7.5 hours, but it was 3 9-hour days straight of just reading my own fucking work. And it's
do you live alone? Are you just in the closet by yourself? Do you have roommates that are what's going on?
No, so I'm in the closet by myself. my dog is sitting outside the closet, but I was on with a wonderful director the whole time, but she would stop me if I did a set, she's okay, do that one again, so it was horrific. But everyone loves the audiobook, so that's great.
That's what I walk to. I hate to say I don't read books so much anymore, but the ones I go through, if they're on Audible or any of those, then
that's what I do with podcasts. I almost exclusively listen to comedy podcasts. I don't
me
need to
too.
listen to the news because
there's enough.
yes, but so my journey, it definitely this work that I do in helping people be visible is the result of figuring out, like, it took a while. So I started my consultancy, Fine Point, almost a decade ago, quit a job I didn't like. I've been a freelance writer since I was 18. I've always like thrown parties and done things on the side for money and always sort of cobbled it together. And it took me I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. Like, I do lots of talks and people are like, what was your business plan? I was like, I was really stupid. Like, don't do it the way I did it. But, because I had no plan. But I started doing like social media for some people and I was writing some stuff. And then I talk about how it's funny, all the words I've strayed away from because of my own judgments, whether that's publicist or coach or things that also I think are very gendered and just my own judgments around them, are actually like, you can't totally reinvent language because then people don't know what you do and they don't know like how to grasp what you do. So I was doing this digital strategy, but it was like 2010, 2011, and particularly in Washington, D.C., like a lot of my clients are in New York, LA, San Francisco, but in D.C., like people couldn't figure out what I did. And I mean, now that's a whole different conversation, but people still wanted traditional media relations, which, I am a child of media people. I grew up in the media and politics bubble of Washington. I also have cultivated media contacts as a writer for a really long time. So I started calling myself a publicist, which I didn't do for so long for no good reason, frankly. And then people started to hire me, and then I became more of a traditional publicist.
But let me just slow you down there though. Yesterday, that's what I was listening to, and they're like, just by changing that one word, you got more work. You went from being a digital strategist, that sounded fine to me, and then you said you changed it. I'm walking along, I'm thinking, well, what? That sounds great, digital strategist. But then just that you refined it, that last little iteration to digital publicist, and bam, you got more work. So we just, we all have to do social media and we do our websites. And I love how you said a website is like a living resume. Amen. And God, are they a pain in the head, but you have to take them. Yeah, I know. I just want to, anyway, but they,
yes. And so I will say also, that, it's so hard to promote yourself. It's literally the basis of my work. And when you need to be really specific about what you do so that people can give you money to do it. And when you use terms,
I like that expression, give you money to do it.
Like when you use vague, or like when people come to me and I'm like, what do you want to be known for? And they say like big thinker or like innovate. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything and nobody can give you money for it. So like, I don't know what I would be giving you money for. And I make them like drill down to be really specific about it. And that is something I talk about in the book too, is just getting really specific around the work that you do so you can tell people what you're doing and then ask them to hire you for it.
Yeah.
But as I was a more general publicist, I became the go-to for individual representation because I've simultaneously always done writing and TV and speaking and like my own face for a while. And people wanted that too. And I saw this missing set of offerings, particularly in PR. Like if you're in PR and you're a person, you have media relations people, but representing a person's really different. They don't know as much about personal branding and then the like executive presence and leadership part. But then if you only go to like someone who does executive presence and leadership, they don't have the media background. So blending those two things. And then I noticed that nobody knew how to talk about themselves. So that's really where Brag Better came from. And I was watching the whole trajectory, particularly of women, from people that wanted to intern to friends to very, very high-powered household names that couldn't talk about what they'd done. So, the word brag is not a pretty one. I'm in the business of getting attention. A lot of people have told me not to use the word. There is no other word.
What's the other word?
There is no other word. So,
there is no. Yeah.
There is a
So that's why I use it, because I could have said, tout your work better, but like brag better is the title, and that's the activity I want people to do. And it's
Yeah.
something that elicits a lot of feelings, but obviously I'm arguing there's a strategic, cohesive way to do it that will get you what you want.
I just thought it might be fun for the other two comedians.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to ask them to pitch themselves. You have a whole chapter on pitching. And this is hard, Kath. I know this is asking a lot. Christine,
Ooh.
I want you to pitch yourself to a booker. Or I'll go, well, I don't want to go for, I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first, Janie.
You go
All right.
first.
Well, what I would say before having read Meredith's book was, to a booker. I don't know if it's to a booker, but in general, I just say, hi, I'm Jane and I'm a comedian. And now after reading Meredith's book, I'm more, they're like, Jane, I'm a comedian. I've been on Last Comic Standing, The View, The Today Show, and I've done a commencement speech. Actually, I've done 3, but I hope that will come up in the questions. And that's one little thing I'm worried about, Meredith. Like in my website, I had to make a decision whether to put on the commencement speech or not. But honestly, it was the honor of my lifetime. And I just thought, I do want to speak. And what I was listening to the book today, you're saying speaking's where the money is. So, we know it's not in comedy. We know it's not in the clubs. But, I like to say advertising is comedy for money. Okay. But most of us, we're doing, the pure, I do theaters, benefits, and fundraisers. Maybe I should say that in my pitch. Okay. Christine, you try to give a pitch and then Meredith will make us all better.
You didn't let me give you any feedback.
I know, because I'm hiding. Yeah, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Listen, you're someone who wants to stand on a stage and tell jokes for money. So I think you can take a little bit of feedback from.
I can take the hit. I know you love me, so go ahead.
Yeah, but again, see, this is the issue with bragging is you gave some good stuff and then you didn't let it sit so that everyone could absorb it and say, wow, she's done those things. We should, like, a part of Brag Better is asking for recognition and praise, but a huge part of that work is then also accepting that praise, which is very hard to do. Like I mean, when people say things to me about the book, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. It's past, I've been fighting for this for so long. It's idiotic of me not to just like stop for a second. And I really have to, like, with nice messages, I'm like, but I'm not on the New York Times bestseller list. It's like, but look at all these nice messages people are sending me, like, shut up. So
the point we're getting from my little thing is accept it. And what came into my mind when you were saying it, and I mean, about 10 years ago, I thought I did say to myself, just say thank you, Jane. Just shut up and say thank you. But I did it last night on Kathy's show. She gave me this lovely introduction and I'm rolling my eyes and going like this and deflecting, because I don't.
Heckling the host.
What?
Heckling the host.
Well, anyway, but we have to shut that down. Okay, so Christine, you go ahead.
Still not letting me give you any feedback.
Oh God, yeah, I'm a good avoider. All right, go ahead.
I'm not going to let you, so we can sit here until you just wait.
I'm waiting now.
Well, why don't you tell me so you're waiting now. What are you worried about that I'm going to say to you, or what are you feeling now? This is
in 6th grade, a teacher said I was oversensitive, and I've lived up to it the rest of my life. Nobody likes criticism. That's all. No, I'm just. Anyway, it's hard to pitch yourself. It's just hard to pitch yourself. That's all.
But what I'm curious about is, I mean, this is the thing that people think too, and I'm putting you on the spot, but that's.
I wish I'd let Christine or Kathy go first.
I like the tension. I like the tension.
Christine is sitting there like, oh man, I dodged a fucking bullet. Right, Christine? All right, go ahead. Anyway.
So some interesting things are happening right here. This is just a live example of why this is hard for people. And you're not an accountant that sits behind a desk. Like, you are someone who wants to stand on a stage and like make up ha-has for money. So I think that it's a very interesting interplay, and comedians that's a whole enormous can of worms that we don't have to open, but so the book is split into, I'm letting the tension build. The book is split into 3 parts. 1, why this issue matters. 2, what to do about it. And 3, what it means in the larger world context. And interesting because we are all, when I talk to people about particularly women is, we all have said the nastiest things possible to ourselves. I do like this thing called nightmare question, which you haven't gotten a nightmare question yet, but like, what is the deepest, darkest thing that someone could ask you that's completely deranged, that's just coming from your own anxiety, that, you're like, what are you really afraid of someone asking? Am I really afraid of someone saying, well, the book was fine. Like, it's pretty good. It's like a little obnoxious and, it's doing okay, but like, it's not, I haven't seen it in the Times yet or something crazy that like is actually just illuminating my own bullshit. Which is a long way of saying that that's never going to happen. Like, so whatever, Jane, you're sitting there, if you think that for some reason I'm going to sit here and just match brains with your 6th grade teacher and be like, man, you are so oversensitive. Like that's not possible. And I think that you jumped straight to being worried that I was going to criticize, which I wasn't particularly, except that you like slow down, say those things and leave them there.
Yeah.
I've been on the Today Show. I've been on, XYZ.
Lifetime, View, Girls Night Out, Nickelodeon.
Okay, I've been on, every TV network from X and Y and Z to X and Y and Z. Here are my clips. That's it. And, sitting there and letting it sit there and bragging and talking about yourself and it's stuff you've done. Like, have you not been on The View? No, you have. So like, why wouldn't you say that? Like, that's crazy.
Actually, I'll tell you the number one thing that I wrote down about your book. It was near the beginning that I found tremendously valuable. You said bragging is simply stating the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember that, my little friend. Bragging is simply stating the facts. We've all accomplished a lot, everybody on this show. And
so the thing that happens is when you say I'm Jay and I'm a comedian, here's my link, or you say I'm Jay, I'm a comedian, and I've been endorsed by all of these third party like brand names that mean things to people.
Yeah.
I would look at you differently as a booker. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, I know that, okay, she's been on The View, so that means you have to go through probably 3 screeners and, still tape it and it still air. Like, I'm a publicist. I know the steps that are required to get that actually on the air that are significant because TV is the hardest medium to secure, particularly for women. It's so complicated and also it gets cut and whatever. So like, those are very significant endorsements. That stuff makes a difference, but by letting it sit there and saying I've done those things, like all I was going to tell you to do was slow down.
Meredith, you bring up a good point, because this is something that I talk about on stage a lot, which is that we're always trying to like live our best life, but I'm not trying to live my best life. I'm trying to live my best lies, because we say so much crap about ourselves to ourselves that if we can start turning that around, instead of being like, stop showboating, you're a fraud, you're an imposter, people are going to find you out, and changing that to what I might think right now is a lie because my self-esteem is maybe not up there yet, where it's like, you are hilarious and you have really nice hair, like just those other things. I'm not trying to step anything because I think
you do have you have a solid like Laura Dern vibe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. You got it.
Let's
Oh,
record it back tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is that. Well, she also looks like Princess Di, we say too, but it's Laura Dern. Oh,
And
thank
Owen
you.
Wilson. I can pass her Owen Wilson.
And Owen Wilson. She also looks like Owen Wilson. Yeah.
He's very
That's her joke. I love that joke.
Yeah, I think that, listen, comedy is a brutal sport.
Thank you for the acknowledgement. We agree with you.
You're all fucking crazy to want to stand on stage for tell jokes for money. Like, it's, and all I want secretly in my heart of hearts is to probably do more in comedy. And like, actually all I cared about that this book was funny. And I was like, oh, it's good. Like, it's good, but like, is it funny? Like, do people think I'm funny? And that's like not what this book is, but, yeah, you are all nutcases to want to like also.
Thank you. The highest compliment. I would actually like to kind of wind it up. I would like Christine and Kathy to get a little bit of a flavor. Everything you said, absolutely true, Meredith. You have clear eye. I love your chapters that say be loud, be proud, be specific. I think
okay.
we're all told we were either loud or fringe when we were kids, or me, I talk too much.
There was a great meme. I mean, I'm a meme person, but there was a great meme that was like all girls that said that got like talked too much on the report cards are now powerful.
Oh yeah, no. Whenever I see like a friend's kid and they've got a little girl and like she's really pushy or loud, and they're like, she's gonna do so well in the real world.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, it'll suck for a long time.
It'll suck for a while, yeah. But then you get to meet all these great people. I know, Catherine. I know we're getting
No. I'm just saying, like, 100%. 100%. You've met my daughter, 100%.
Oh, is Lorelai there?
She's not in. She's
We're
out.
talking about strong women.
Strong women.
Lorelai's gonna be fine. Lorelai's gonna be fine. But anyway, but what I want, since we've got like the world's leading authority here, I thought, why not take advantage? So Christine, give us your pitch about yourself, and Meredith will crucify you. No, she'll be fine.
Okay,
This is not a normal show, Meredith. I think you're getting the gist of that. Yeah. Anyway,
okay,
what's
so
your pitch?
what I usually do is, my name is Christine Hurley. I'm the mother of 5 children, married to my high school sweetheart for 33 years. And I am hilarious. I'm hilarious. So, hire me. My mouth is my office. It's always open.
Okay, now that's a pitch. Oh,
Yeah.
Meredith, really, that was pretty awesome.
I mean, that was great because obviously it also lends itself to like 7 filthy scenarios. It's great.
I know the double entendres were just piling on. Little cardinal spellman.
That's good. That's a good line. That's a very good line. I mean, I for you. So things that disproportionately matter are those third party. If you said you did last comic stand, like things like that, like you need to pepper in because again, people, especially in your world, know how many gatekeepers it took for you to do that.
Right.
Like, I mean, I would imagine there were 10 people that had to okay you being at least on last comic standing.
It was America's Got Talent, but yeah.
America's Got, well, so that's probably a bigger, actually, that's harder.
It's a bigger credit. Yeah.
So I mean, I like your pitch. And I think that what I'm pitching a client, I mean, again, this is talking about some of the PR things. If I say those things about you, but then I don't include, oh, she was just on America's Got Talent, which also then signifies to like a big booker that you've been cleared for like big regular America Person TV. Like that's different from a comedy specific show to like network in everyone's living room, like how many layers. So I mean, I just think that everyone should include their
yeah, you're right.
Going to signify
TV credits. I thought that was a great pitch.
It's what?
I think it's hard to do to talk about what I've been on and.
Well, I mean, have you not done it? If it's a lie, then don't say it. But just think about what a mediocre white dude would do, and he would lead.
Okay, here's one thing she left out as a friend who would brag about her. She's known as the queen of Boston comedy.
Yeah.
What a great, so if you could work that in, otherwise your pitch was hilarious, Christine. I would have hired you about 2 words in. But,
thank you, Meredith.
my mouth is my office. I hadn't heard that one. That you got to admit, that's pretty lovely. Not a lot of women in positions of leadership say that.
Taking that note.
Meredith deals with
I might say that. I mean, I will credit you 100%. I will say this is not my joke. This is Christine Hurley's joke, but.
Okay, well, Christine, that was great. And maybe with a few more credits. Okay, I got to slow down. So Kathy first, now I feel sorry for you going like, Kathy is probably the most modest among us. This might be a little tough.
Yes, by
I'm
far.
not sure about that because I don't have TV credits, but I do own 7 televisions. So I'll put that in. I am a stay-at-home mom, a stand-up comedian, and a snack cake enthusiast. I came on the scene late, and I quickly made up for it by becoming a comic in residence at the Comedy Studio. I was the finalist in the Boston Comedy Festival, and I teach at both Laugh Boston and Improv Boston. I've taught over a couple of hundred people in Boston alone how to do stand-up.
All right.
Thanks.
Good
I just
one.
made that up.
And your
I'm the
show,
real.
and your, but you just, and Ferris and Friends. I just would have added that. But
Well, yeah, I should have added Ferris and Friends. Yeah.
So in your case, it's too much stuff but you can tailor it depending on the audience.
Mhm.
So if it's someone who wants you to teach, you can say I've taught X, Y, and Z. If it's someone who wants you to host, you can say I've finalist and X, if you like,
Right.
I talk about moving from audience backwards. So you guys are leading with TV right now. If these are people to whom that doesn't matter, or other credits like filling larger stadiums matters, larger rooms matters because it's a booker and they want to make sure you can put butts in seats, like considering the audience there, I think that it's just, in this case too, having it a little tighter and then having it directed at the intended goal. So,
okay.
that's what I would say.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really great. Yeah, my question always, whenever I'm asked to do anything, and I tend not to do clubs because they're younger and they don't pay well. I do benefits, theaters, and fundraisers. What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Anyway, I forget what I was going to say.
I think it was that we should pay Kathy more. That's what we were
I think
saying.
we should.
You don't like to do clubs. You like to do theaters and.
Oh yeah.
One thing that we'll have to talk about the next time that we convene is also what this has to do as a generational issue. I mean, we haven't talked about that, but the age part here is significant.
Oh.
And when I was training executives in my 20s, they're like, why should I listen to you? I'm like, well, millennials understand the sort of brand of me and why that's powerful. So I'm also not surprised. Like it's firmly also a generational issue.
Oh, totally. Because so it's Irish Catholic, and behave. And then I lived in Japan, where the nail that stands up is hammered down. And then you're not supposed to self-promote. It took me a long time to come around to doing anything outward like that. So
don't you feel like the mantra is always like, for me, it's like, be so good that they can't ignore you, like that.
Yes.
Which I think implies like, then
Yes.
don't do anything.
So be undeniable. And Christine. Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a spicy take, but didn't Steve Martin say that?
Maybe.
I think in which case that's like a white man. So like, I think that like, that's maybe an okay, I talk a lot in the book about how you can do good work, but you have to tell other people, especially since we're all at home right now. You can't drop by your boss's office. You can't like happen in on a coworker that's like going to compliment you on something. I added this fourth pillar that's in this extra chapter on the Brag Letter website for free 99. That is that you have to be really explicit right now. Because you can't infer anything. Like you unfortunately, three dynamic great women are reduced to boxes, and I'm sitting in the middle of my living room, like, and I already like you, but it's it's hard.
Yeah.
So I mean,
one thing I find I have to be like about 10% more on stage. It's funny, when I get on stage, I can just take charge, and yet that's not my day-to-day thing. I just say be bold. But what was the other thing? Oh, there was each year I seem to have a different little mantra, and one year it was connect, have a conversation with these people, look people in the eyes, this is your best girlfriend. But my favorite one year was this took all my gumption. This is so antithetical to my upbringing. Before I go on stage, I would just say, I'm the shit.
Well,
I would find it so hard not to laugh at that.
I thought you were going to say Christine's mantra. Okay.
You are the shit, Janie.
Well, you're the best, Christine, too.
It also sounds particularly encouraging with that accent. It's like adds
Well, but anyway, you've been just great. And I do want, besides getting her book, please, everybody,
Buy my book.
buy her book, God damn
We
it.
will.
Better.
We're all gonna brag better.
We
We're
will,
gonna brag
Meredith.
better.
I love you.
Now that you're up in Boston, you're gonna brag better. Okay.
Yeah.
Teach her how to
Brag
speak.
better.
Gonna go to
Brag better.
Dunkin', and then we're gonna brag.
1, 2, 3. Brag.
Brag
Yeah.
better.
But I do want to say this, and we'll do brag better again because I really like that. Is that she has this wonderful podcast. Meredith is also a consignment ninja guru. It's called It Never Gets Old, I believe, about secondhand clothes. And I listened to it because I'm there like, I don't want to touch somebody's old stuff. And you persuaded me.
And then I'm like, you're stupid because you're missing out.
Oh, I have one of my daughters. That's all she does. Shops all at
It's all of
consignment.
you.
Dresses
Oh.
beautifully.
Christine, you got to get her to listen to this podcast. It never gets old because
I will.
and then there's the whole thing about the environmental and recycling, and it just makes so
Absolutely.
much
Well, that
sense.
sounds
And we
great.
think millennials are you younger than a millennial? Like,
No.
Yeah. Meredith
Yeah.
is.
No, I'm a millennial, but Gen Z, which has so much purchasing power, cares so much more than any other generation ever has about climate, and fashion is a tremendous polluter. And so Gen Z is really leading the way for secondhand thrift.
oh wow.
Love it.
So that's like, you don't have to convince any of the people that age. That
Yeah, how interesting. The but anyway, we've gone way over and we've taken a lot of your time, Meredith, but you've been absolutely wonderful. So all the comedians now, and Catherine, 1, 2, 3, we're gonna say brag better the way it's supposed to be said. Okay,
You got it.
ready? 1, 2, 3. Brag
better.
Love you, Meredith. Thanks for coming.
Hey,
Meredith,
guys,
thank
catch
you,
me.
honey.
I'll be at the
Love you,
Strand.
girls.
I'll be at the Strand tonight at 7 p.m. with my friend Yufu.
Great, great.
We'll
Lots more to come for you, kiddo. You're the
Love
you're
you.
too.
But
It's
you
great
were
to
all
meet you.
very brave and out of your fucking minds to want to like, make a living this way. Like, I can't think of anything dumber, and I love it.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, near the end of your life, you may be joining us. Well,
Never
I
know.
know you got that funny bone, but it's go out and make a lot of money first, okay? And then
Yeah.
come back to us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.